went over to Ireland as part of that raiding party for recommending the late John Wade.
Race for a few reasons. So we've got the overall concerns of a lack of fitness with those that haven't been in action so far this autumn. You've got slight resolution doubts about Use Some Girl, and Return Fire. Ultimately, there are some horses who you just don't tend to back because they're fully exposed and they don't win very often. Add to that list Guernsey, who's the outsider of those six on the caption. He was a pretty useful operator not long ago for Philip Hobbs. Striking looking horse, the grey there in the centre of shot, but he really did get out of the winning habit for Philip, and it's been a similar story in different hands subsequently now with Jackie Stephen.
Lights Are Green, of course, was a winner 2 starts ago at Cartmel, but that was back in July, I think.
And it's over fences as well, so you could kind of make a case
for all 6 of them for not having a bet.
Winning.
Normally you're trying to talk yourself into having a bet.
It might be a dead heat of 7 because I think it's basically an impossible closer to the card from a punting perspective.
But it would be a nice, as we just mentioned a few moments ago, for the late John Wade, were his colours to be carried to success, a man who's done so much for Northern racing and Northern business in general.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier, didn't we, when Rebecca's other horse was in action, who just wasn't on a going day today.
And that was interesting. That was the other horse that had gone to Downpatrick and had won on that occasion really well and checked out early in today's race.
Well, I just think that reflects great credit on Rebecca as well, spotting something, an opening like that. I think creativity from trainers, a similar thing, completely different level, but
it's that
City of Troy going for a Breeders' Cup Classic as the main aim and working back from that. I think it should be, and it's something that Willie Mullins has mentioned, isn't it, in his interview with Nick, that don't do what everybody's done for all these years.
Willie was mentioning, without giving a spoiler alert, but Willie was mentioning that when his late father, Paddy Mullins, was training, they would have horses running on the flat over fences and over hurdles in one season.
Sea Pigeon would be a good example of that, wouldn't it?
The Easterbees, yeah, absolutely. So the starter's aloft his rostrum. Flag is raised. It's time to hand up to Stephen Powell for the final time today here at Kelso. Over to you, Stephen.
Thank you, Bernard. Have a good evening, everyone. Field of 6 walking in. They're off. Racing over 3 1/4 miles here for the Racing TV Conditional Jockeys Training Series Handicap Hurdle. They head down on the run towards the first of 13 flights of hurdles. Right out at the back there, Maura Jean being
Racing over 3 1/4 miles here for the Racing TV Conditional Jockeys Training Series Handicap Hurdle. They head down on the run towards the first of 13 flights of hurdles. Right out to the back there, Maura Jean being dropped in about half a dozen lengths or so off the other 5 runners here by Ellis Collier. As they now reach flight number 1, it will be Return Fire and Lights Are Green, who are the first 2 to rise. Guernsey jumps in alongside Arctic Man, a dispute of 3rd and 4th. Then we have Use Some Girl, and at the back, Maura Jean, last of the 6 runners. So now turning.
Now wears a white cap ahead of Use Some Girl and Maura Jean jumping the flight that will be the last hurdle in 2 circuits' time. Maura Jean quite ponderous at the back there. It continues to be adrift by 4 or 5 lengths. So making their way at a moderate gallop here, a long way to go. Lights Are Green by 3/4 of a length to Return Fire. Arctic Man on the outside, half a length away under Dominic Hislop. Guernsey, 4th against the rail, whose 2 wins have been over 2 miles 2 and 2 miles 3. He has been placed over this trip here last year. And Use Some Girl, Charlie Maggs in 5th place, followed by Maura Jean at the back. Into the back straight they go, on towards the 4th. And Lights Are Green, touching down just in front of Return Fire and Conor McCann, racing on the inside in the green and yellow. Out wider of those is Arctic Man, and Guernsey continues to track them back on the inner. You Some Girl and Maura Jean, who closes up a little bit. Maura Jean bidding to win for the first time. 19 races without success thus far for the 7-year-old mare, as they now turn left-handed and head back onto the side of the course. The cross flight coming up next, number 6. And to this point, there's been little change in the order. They've all generally jumped quite well, although the leader there, Lights Are Green, did just get in a bit deep to it. You Some Girl, a couple of times, was just thrown her head from side to side. Charlie Maggs trying to keep her settled. Second from the back at the moment in the maroon and white colours as they turn back into the home straight. And the next hurdles will be number 7 and 8. Return Fire, looking to give Lucinda Russell her 4th winner of the afternoon. Continuing to trade the lead back and forth with Lights Are Green on the left as we look down the track. These two get over with Guernsey. And Joshua Thompson continuing to go stride for stride with Arctic Man with the noseband. And You Some Girl, who's yet to win over hurdles herself. She's had 11 goes. The only win she has got was in a bumper at Catterick, ahead of Maura Jean at the back. Here's flight number 8. And they have a circuit in front of them. So all jumping well enough to this point. And they continue their way past the enclosures. They've got a circuit in front of them for the Racing TV Conditional Jockeys Training Series handicap hurdle. 1.25 miles left to go and 5 flights left to jump. The next will be in the back straight, flight number 9. Lights Are Green just moving into a more clear lead now. It's about 2.5 lengths under Elizabeth Gale to Return Fire in second. Arctic Man still racing 1 off the rail next to Guernsey. You Some Girl still under tight rein in 5th place. And Maura Jean well in touch now. Still last of all, but only half a length off You Some Girl. First hurdle on the back straight. Arctic Man just dived at it ever so slightly, out to the right a little. Going on towards what is 4 from home. Lights Are Green, Return Fire, Guernsey, Arctic Man, Maura Jean moving right up on the outside. First real error there, that came from You Some Girl. Went right through it. She's now last of all, but they're still well grouped. Probably only 3 to 4 lengths would cover them as they embark on another left-hand turn, which brings them on towards the 3rd from the finish. Lights Are Green, with on the outside Maura Jean moving right up to challenge. There was nothing between them there. Guernsey wasn't quite as quick over as the 2 preceding her. Return Fire in the green and yellow colours on the inside. You Some Girl going up between horses. An Arctic Man, maybe just a big tap for toe on his first run for nearly 6 months, his last of the 6 runners. They turn into the home straight. The pace is beginning to lift. Lights Are Green with a narrow lead from Maura Jean on the left. In between them is Guernsey coming to challenge the front 2. Return Fire's in 4th, and You Some Girl is only about 1.5 lengths off them. She landed in 4th place, past Return Fire, and last of all now, and ridden along Arctic Man. They're coming down towards the 13th and final flight, and on the right Lights Are Green, being passed by the grey Guernsey. On the left Maura Jean, and You Some Girl in the maroon and white, being produced at the last. Maura Jean and You Some Girl. The 2 mares will battle it out clear of Lights Are Green. Onto the flat, Maura Jean just in front. You Some Girl trying hard, but Maura Jean is going to win for the first time at the 20th attempt for Ian Duncan and Ellis Collier. She went away to the line and beat in 2nd place You Some Girl. Arctic Man rallied from Return Fire, Lights Are Green and Guernsey.
And last of all now,
So from the bottom of the handicap, it is Maura Jean, who is a maiden no more. As one of our great colleagues on the channel, Mark Johnson, would say in commentary, Maura Jean, daughter of Suleimani, on her 20th career start, has crossed the finish line first in a race for Ian Duncan and Eilidh Collier, and it was an exciting finish as well. It was a case of the two mares getting up in the closing stages, Maura Jean getting the better of You Some Girl.
Yeah, one of them had to win, didn't it?
Yeah.
And it's taken 20 goes for her to win, so credit to Connections for persistence, if nothing else. And to be honest, you've always got a chance if You Some Girl's doing the chasing, because we know she's not the stoutest finisher. Head goes back a bit and she starts to wilt late on. Arctic Man's got a second wind again and run on, but we were stressing what a weak and unappealing race it was. Look at the distance covered by them at the end. 3.25 mile race, and they're struggling to get out of each other's way. And maiden really is the operative word in that race, because in one discipline or another, winning races has been a chore for so many of them. Still a maiden, You Some Girl. Lights of Greens never won over hurdles. Don Brocco never won over fences. So a real mixed bag.
Do you know something? For the type of race, I mean, essentially it's for conditional riders, and Eilidh Collier was riding a second winner of the season. It's an education for the riders that, you know, riding these horses, some of them are reluctant enough performers. Yeah. Young jockeys trying to cajole efforts out of horses that are probably not quite the most forthcoming.
Yeah, that's true, and you're doing it. It's not bad for the fitness either. You're pushing and shoving for 3.25 miles.
And you're kidding a horse along.
Yeah. And I thought he looked like he needed the run. He's not actually shaped that way, but Dominic Hislop, we don't know a great deal about. He's not had many rides, but he looked perfectly polished, trying to get Arctic Man wound up again, and he does get a second run out to the horse, but frankly, he's not a race to dwell on, is it? And we've had